Howdy everyone, Poacher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the hero spotlight for Brite, the new witch coming, or one of the 3 new witches coming to the game. She is a light hero, she is a healer, so she could potentially replace Belladonna in some situations, but we'll go over her kit and have a bit of a discussion about how you could potentially use her. Keep in mind, these 3 witches, there was a little bit of confusion with the way they were introduced because it was stated that they're from the Witches Academia or something similar like that, but they are part of the Witches Coven. They will be able to be used in the Nightmare Raid, so just keep that in mind as well. But we'll go over the hero's kit, talk about the abilities, look at the animations, and just discuss where this hero is potentially going to be used the most, or how you could potentially use this hero. So let's get into it and play with the new witches. Moving into the arena, we have Brite's basic attack, Versatile Brush, performs 2 ranged magic attacks on the target, casts 3 healer runes on herself, damage to Brite except dot debuffs or removing a rune, deals 150% of Brite's basic damage to the enemy per rune. For every ally healed, Brite gains 1 stack, and the rune dissolves after triggering. Awakening this skill restores 30% of her HP, and Healer Rune deals more damage. Looking at the animation of the skill, she'll summon 2 rainbow bowls and slap the enemy with them. So, yeah, fairly nice if you're into bowls. Honestly, I think this is a top tier basic skill. Number 1, multi-hit. Love multi-hit. It just reduces stacks of buffs on the enemy if they're stackable buffs. For example, the enemy applies 3 stacks of a damage reduction buff, and each stack is removed per hit. Multi-hit can remove multiple stacks. Simple as that. Healer Rune, crazy. Healer Rune is what Peaky can apply to herself, and we've seen times where enemies have attacked Peaky and just straight up killed themselves because of the damage reflection. Brite is getting this, except it's on her basic ability. With Peaky, it's on a special ability. So Brite can just have this up constantly. Constantly. Awakening this also applies a self-heal to the skill. Overall, for a basic skill, this is insane. It would have to be, if I was making a tier list of basic skills, I think this would have to be top tier. It's insane. Damage mitigation, self-healing, multi-hit. It's got everything. It's wonderful. So there you go. All right, we'll move on to her next skill, and yeah. Brite's second ability is Support Allies. Let's go ahead and look at the animation of the skill. She paints the screen a rainbow. And with Brite, it's not about appearance. It's about what the performance is. And she is a hero that performs. So let's go into the skill. Extends the duration of buffs by 1 turn and adds 1 stack. So it adds 1 stack or increases the duration by 1 turn. Casts Regeneration on all allies for 3 turns at the start of the target's turn, restores 25% of their HP, increases light allies' fortitude by 50% for 4 turns, speeds up herself and allied light druids by 80% for 3 turns. Awakening this skill removes the maximum HP reduction debuff from light allies, Regeneration restores more HP, fortitude increase lasts longer, and speed ups on herself and light druids is even more. It also casts a melee damager class mark. The melee damager attack on the hero ignores all damage reduction effects except for medallions. Lots of stuff in this ability. Lots of stuff I love. So, we'll start with one that's about at the end. So, speeds up herself and light druids. So, from what this states, I have a feeling that these 3 witches plus the 2 new druids that we're going to get are going to be a new team. I feel like that's where they're going to work. Similar to how when the renegades came out and the new demons, we got the rendems. The new renegades didn't really support the old ones, even though you can still kind of use them. No one does. And the new demons, obviously no one's using them with demons. They're using them with the renegades. This is going to be similar. You're going to have the witches and the new druids, and they're going to work as a team. The only difference here is I still believe that these new witches are still going to heavily support the old witches. Just reading the skills, and this hasn't been tested, but we can just go off a paper kit and make assumptions and theory craft. But this skill alone, I feel like would work really well with Belladonna. Okay? Increases the duration of buffs by 1 turn. Belladonna applies 3 stacks of the evasion. You have then your Brite, who can extend that to 4 turns. So that's 4 turns of evasion. You're going to have the healing buff from the hot from Belladonna. That's going to get increased by a turn as well. Your Brite is going to apply her own hot as well. So huge amounts of healing. And there's only really one part of this that benefits druids. So she's still very versatile and can be used with witches. But it also makes her kind of universal, because apart from the little bit at the end, it says that works on all allies a lot. And then if it's not all allies, it says light allies. So there is the higher potential. She may be usable in many other areas of the game. You throw her in Cloud Wanderers, throw her in the Federici, just... there is the potential to use her other places. Going on to her awakenings, and this is the first time we've seen this, and it's something I've suggested to Playcott for a while now because it's becoming more prevalent in combat, is the ability that turns your HP bar grey. It essentially cuts your HP away. It cannot be returned unless, of course, the hero dies and is resurrected. This mechanic has no counter in the game, and it's becoming very dangerous. The Federici are the most potent for it. They can absolutely strip huge amounts of HP away from your characters, and it makes it really hard to combat them because you're at such a disadvantage. Other characters like Impus can do this, Felicia can do this, I'm pretty sure Circus Performers can also do it. There's a few characters in the game that can do it, but Federici do it the best. Brite is the first character in the game that can counter this. Now, I don't know if she's going to be able, or this new faction or these new characters are going to be strong enough to counter some of these mega strong meta squads we have at the moment. But it's good to see that a counter is now being put in place, because it had no counter before, except for dying and resurrecting, which was something you couldn't always work against. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, offers a lot of healing. The downside to it being that it's a hot, so it's a buff. It can be removed. Also, the maximum HP reduction, it's not a debuff. It's just something that's on your characters. I've already raised this with Playcott. It's just a translation issue. It will be rectified, so just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a debuff, it doesn't exist. It just cuts HP. It's just something that happens. So Brite, again, will be able to counter that. Moving on to her third ability, we have Renaissance. Heals all allies for 45% of Brite's maximum HP. Repeats the healing as many times as there are dead allies in the squad. For every instance of excess healing, casts 1 Healer's Rune on herself. I'm not going to explain what Healer's Rune does. Revives 2 light allies with 50% of HP and makes them hidden for 4 turns. If the ability does not revive anyone, casts Immortality on herself. The next time she is supposed to die, she restores 30% of her HP instead. Awakening this increases the healing more effectively, deals more damage per healer rune, and light allies are revived with more HP. We'll go ahead and look at the animation of the skill real quickly. She'll go ahead and just rainbow. That's all we're getting from this hero. Wonderful. Jumping back to the skill. Let's dissect it. What's going on with this hero? This hero is insane. So her last ability had a bit of a downfall. It being that if it's a hot, it can be removed through purges, removal of debuffs, buff block, whatever you want to, not removal of debuffs, removal of buffs, buff block, plenty of ways to deal with buffs. This heal is pretty much protecting her weakness, because this is an instant heal. There is no buff. She's going to heal no matter what, and it's stronger depending on how many light allies are dead on the team. So, not light allies, just allies in general, which is insane. It has the potential for a lot of healing. Now, let's pretend for a second that Spellwind doesn't exist, the new boss that's coming to the game, okay? Let's pretend Lilith is the character you're going to be using. Lilith has the ability of when witches are dead, there's more defense in... I believe it's for all witches, or maybe it's just for Lilith. Either way, maybe it's just for Lilith. Either way, this complements that a lot. Less damage, but you're healing more as well. And then you can revive 2 light allies. So that's huge. Now, let's throw in Belladonna. And let's just talk about how she complements the witches. Even though they've got that little bit of light druid stuff in the skill kit, in her last skill, let's talk about the synergy she would have with the faction she's born to be in. the witches. Belladonna, amazing character. We all love her. Okay, she applies the evasion buff. Brite can extend the evasion buff. Belladonna can apply hots. Brite can extend the hots. Then she can apply her own hots. Then she can apply her own healing. Belladonna can revive all witches. Brite can only revive light witches. That's fine. It's still a resurrection. If it's not resurrecting, it's protecting herself and preventing herself from dying, which is great. Awesome. The only weak link to the team would be the Belladonna dying. If the Belladonna dies, Brite can't resurrect her, but that's fine. You have the other characters like Banshee who are going to be tearing the enemy apart while you've just got these two heroes just bouncing off each other, creating absolute chaos. There is a little bit in her passive. If you're asking yourself, who would you replace on the team? My suggestion would be Nora, and you'll understand that more when we get into her passive and talk a bit about what she offers through her passive. But overall, the healing on this character is great. Really, really good. Still packing up that damage reduction on herself. And, I mean, enemies attacking this character, either whether it's intentional or through AoE, they're going to take a big bit of damage back on themselves. So when I first saw the design for Brite, I was very skeptical. I thought to myself, this character is going to be lame. She's wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. I think whoever designed this character did a really good job. In saying that, I haven't actually tested these new characters against anything meta-wise, but just reading over her skills, she just seems to flow really well, and she seems to synergize with the other witches really well. I don't know what the other witches do yet. I don't know what the new druids do yet. I don't know how that synergy is going to play out, but the witches are such a great faction in the sense that they all just do a job. They're all so usable, and adding Brite into the mix, you're just like, who do I take out? Who do I replace? How do I play these characters? There's more ways I can play these characters. I'm extremely biased. I'm going to admit it because I love the witches and I just love Brite. I think it's a really good character. We'll move on to a passive and we'll talk a little bit about that and why I think you would replace Nora on the squad if you were putting Brite in. But again, it would be completely situational on how you want to play the team. So let's go to the passive. Brite's passive is Artist Soul. Light allies gain 50% of excess healing as shield. When an allied light witch or light druid dies, increases initiative of all allies by 60%. When another allied light witch or light druid loses their shield, they gain immortality. The next time they are supposed to die, they restore 40% of their HP instead. If an ally has immortality, they cannot receive it again. Awakening this skill before dying, Brite uses her Renaissance ability, regardless of its cooldown stage, and immortality restores more HP. 100% you're awakening this ability, as if you're not. That is crazy. Crazy. Now, before dying, I would have to test it, and we will test it. We're just reading abilities. We're just talking about this hero in theory crafting. But I would like to see if Renaissance, the trigger, happens even if she has the immortality on her. So if the game thinks she's going to die, will it trigger Renaissance? And then if it does, or if it immortality protects her, does it not trigger? That's something we would have to look at, but either way, you would still awaken this ability because why would you not get a free cast off before she dies? Now, the light allies thing, gain 50% excess shield, healing as shield. That's awesome. It only triggers off light allies. However, it benefits... sorry, not the light ally, the first part. It's light allies as well, but it only affects light. It's the second dot point. I apologize. When a light ally dies, increases the initiative of all allies. So it's triggered by light allies only, but it benefits all allies. So everyone benefits it, but only certain trigger it. That's really good. So for example, if you are running a Diana on the team who absorbs all of the AoE damage to herself, makes her very susceptible to dying, she would die. All your characters would get 60% initiative. If you've got a Belladonna on the team and your Brite on the team, you got two characters resurrecting. She's going to pop the Diana back up almost immediately. you're not wasting the resurrection abilities if no one needs resurrection. Maybe Brite you would because it's a big heal, but Belladonna you never do. You never ever waste it. So Belladonna, for example, would resurrect. Diana would be back on the field, ready to absorb all that AoE abilities again. If she dies, boom, you get 60% initiative again. Maybe Brite's ability is off cooldown and you can resurrect again. It's a good cycle. It's a good cycle. The Diana being on the team, I think, is 100% necessary. I think you still need her. I think because of the clause in Brite's passive, you would want her. You almost want her to die, boosts everyone's initiative, get all your abilities out, bang, back to square one. I think that is, again, I think she's just designed so well with how the witches work. It's just, I just love her. I just think it's great. Also, you're getting immortality on light witches when their shields are broken. Now, as I mentioned in the last skill, why would you replace Nora if you were replacing anyone? And this is just theory crafting. I don't know if you would, but Nora's abilities are quite interesting. Her damage doesn't come from basic damage. It comes from cryostasis, which is really good. But if you have a really strong Banshee, cryostasis, you don't really need it. Nora's other benefits come from she is able to apply healing and shielding to the team. Okay? I think it's Frost Shield, I think it's called. It's Frost something. But taking her out of the team and replacing her with Brite, you're not losing out on that healing or shielding because Brite can both heal more than Nora. I don't know about shielding more than Nora, but she can definitely apply lots of shielding. If you mix her with Belladonna as well, and I like linking her back to Belladonna because I think these two healers really work off each other. Belladonna uses her second ability, increases evasion by 3 turns, but also pretty much brings everyone back up to max HP. Then Brite comes along, uses her ability, and applies shielding to everybody because it's overhealing. So your Nora shield, it's not being removed, it's just being replaced by potentially something more efficient. Nora's healing is being replaced by something more efficient. You're losing out on Nora's damage, but again, the damage is very niche. It requires an enemy tank with a lot of defense and magic resistance, which isn't always the case, so you're not really getting a lot of damage out of it. And when you've got Banshee on the team, damage isn't really a problem. Just keeping everyone alive and going with Diana and I mean, who knows what the two new witches do as well. They could completely change how we play this team, but I'm just pretending that these two characters don't exist yet, and it's just Brite, and she's just a menace of a support unit to add to the witches. Like I said, you can use these in Nightmare Raid. I will 100% be trying to use Brite in Nightmare Raid. If I can get those witches nodes to 100% auto, which they kind of nearly are, there is still a possibility I die when I'm doing it, but I feel like with Brite, I'm not going to have a worry in the world. I am going to be sitting on a beach with a mojito and just watching my money increase because all my workers are doing such a wonderful job. I don't have to worry about a single thing in the world. But then again, I haven't tested it yet. I'm just going off what the kit is, and the kit is beautiful. I love it. It's a piece of art. I'm going to frame it, put it on the wall, and hope to God that other witches are just as good. But there you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you're on the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.